But if you don't believe in yourself that you're going to make this money back, then that's the first thing we have to work on. That's your sales mindset. That's the unwavering belief that you can't out strategize. You can't out DM strategy it. You can't out content it. That's the stuff that's going on in between your ears. And when you wake up every day, you need to know that, like, you can do this. What's up, and welcome back to the Scale Your Sales podcast. I am your host and your soon-to-be podcast BFF, Jillian Murphy. If you are absolutely exhausted of hearing the same podcast that only leaves you feeling motivated and just a bunch of fluff, well, you have absolutely landed on the right podcast today. In this episode, we are going to talk about the most important skill you need to generate your business, and that is sales. We are going to dive into topics such as messaging, marketing, how to build lead generation organically, and we are going to talk about how to create consistent cash months inside of your business. And we are also going to talk about how to build a company that isn't just about making money, but is also bringing in actual wealth, while getting back to what I know is your most important thing, time freedom. Now, I am here for real talk, real advice, straightforward tip, and no BS. You can always walk away and implement everything that we talk about in our show and move it into your business immediately. But I have to tell you, I am not your typical business mentor. We are going to talk about things that nobody else is probably talking about on the internet. We are going to talk about what it takes to build a real company and not just about how to manifest your business or how you can make $1 million tomorrow. But if that's what you're looking for, this podcast is absolutely not for you. We are going to talk about the real skills to build a real business. Now, I have spent over 25 years in the corporate sales space, generating over $100 million in sales through multiple industries in the online and the brick and mortar space. I have been able to help over 500 entrepreneurs not only grow their sales, but scale their businesses. Several times per week, I'm going to bring you solo episodes, guest episodes, and even hot seat coaching so that you are able to scale your sales. Now, grab a pen and paper, your beverage of choice, and let's freaking go. What's up, babes? Welcome back to the podcast today. It is a beautiful Monday morning. I am drinking, not that I'm an affiliate for them by any means, but I could be because I'm literally obsessed with this drink. I am drinking a new organic sparkling rosé tea beverage, non-alcoholic, USDA organic drink. And let me just tell you, I'm obsessed with this thing. It has 20 calories, 4 grams of carbohydrates, and 2 grams of sugar. And it tastes so good. So if you are at a Trader Joe's and you want something that feels and tastes so good, you need to try this organic sparkling rosé. It's literally so good, you guys. And what I like to do, I'm giving you guys like all the tea. I like to take things out of a can. So like my bubbly, my San Pellegrino, my Topo Chico, and now this new organic sparkling rosé. And I'll put it in like a stemless wine glass, sometimes with like a little bit of berries and some ice, because it just feels fancy. And we like to be fancy over here, right? In the podcast. So that is what we are doing today on this beautiful Monday morning. I also went today and got fitted for some new outfits because I have been speaking lately a lot at live events. More like smaller events. So people have like masterminds or retreats. That's really my jam. I'm not one who really likes to be like on a stage or really even on a pedestal. And I'll actually share a little bit more about that in another podcast, why I don't believe that anyone should really have like a stage or a pedestal at a show or at an event. But that's another podcast for another day. But I've been speaking a lot lately, so I wanted some new outfits. But I need you guys to slide into my DMs. I need you guys to tell me, where do you guys shop? Because being someone in their 40s, it is nearly impossible, I find, to buy clothes. The amount of time I spend going, returning, being frustrated, crying because nothing fits. And it's not because I'm like too small or too tall or overweight or underweight or any of those things. It's just like, who are these clothes actually made for? The amount of times that I said, is this made for like a toddler today? When Shine actually pulled out some of their clothes was beyond me. But that's not what we're really talking about today. What we're talking about is the one percenters. The one percenters in business. And I want to talk about the one percenters in business because I am grateful and I am fortunate enough to be a one. Also, why is Taylor Swift queuing on my phone right now? Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Maybe that's like a sign right now. That was so weird how that just like queued. But what we're actually going to talk about today is being the 1%. And I'm so grateful and I'm so fortunate, but I'm not so lucky that I got to be in the 1%, right? And what I want to talk about today is some of the things that I have done to get here. And I want you to ask yourself, are you doing these things? Are you willing to do these things? And have you done these things kind of consistently? Because one thing that I know is my commitment and my consistency is unfucking matched. Regardless of what I'm going through in life, what life throws at me. You guys, in the last 3 years, I've had countless health challenges. I ended a 6.5 year relationship. I moved across the country by myself with nothing more than 3 suitcases and everything I could fit into a car. I started my life basically over. I entered and exited an abusive relationship of 18 months. I then had to move to a different apartment for some safety reasons. Like, you guys, it has been wild over the last 3.5 years. And in that time, I have not skipped a beat. I have not skipped a beat in my messaging, in my marketing, how I show up. Um, for my clients, podcasts, any of those things. And that's the thing. I want you to ask yourself right now, like, what is your consistency? Before we even get into what I did, it's like, what is your consistency? What have you shown up and done? Have you been half in, half out? Have you been changing your messaging? Have you been allowing life to really take over? And I get it, life happens, right? But we're entrepreneurs and we don't get just to stop when life happens. We have to keep our doors open. We are, I always say, like the equivalent of like a coffee shop. And if we want our coffee shop to have clients coming in or customers coming in, we have to stand out front and say, our door is open. And not only is our door open, but we have the best fucking coffee ever. And you're wildly crazy for not being in here, right? So I'm going to talk about a couple of the things that I have done to be a 1%er in the United States. So number one is I invest in mentorship. Now, this isn't a ploy to get you guys to invest in mentorship, but it is an opportunity for you to ask yourself, who's leading you? Who's guiding you? Are you just trying to puzzle piece it together? Are you grabbing a $97 course? Are you getting free information in a podcast? Are you sitting in free Facebook groups? Are you doing free training after free training after free training? Or are you willing to invest? And one of the things that I always say when I invest is I'm betting on myself. I know 100% I'm going to make this back. So let's say, for an example, I make a $40,000 investment in mentorship. Okay. I'm in a mastermind that's actually more than that. I've been in this mastermind for going on my 4th year. It's close to a $75,000 investment. But what I say to myself is, can I bet on myself to sell 10 people into infinity during the year to make that back? Of course I can. I could do that in a month. Can I bet on myself to sell 3 people into one on one coaching in a year to make that money back? Of course I can. But if you don't believe in yourself that you're going to make this money back, then that's the first thing we have to work on. That's your sales mindset. That's the unwavering belief that you can't out strategize. You can't out DM strategy it. You can't out content it. That's the stuff that's going on in between your ears. And when you wake up every day, you need to know that, like, you can do this. I was on a sales call last week. You guys know I don't do sales calls hardly ever. But this woman really wanted a sales call, and she wanted a sales call by a woman. And I gave her the price point of what it was to work with me. And I said, "What do you sell?" And she said, "I sell a $4,000 coaching program." And I said, "Let me ask you, do you believe you can sell two in 6 months that would pay back your investment to work with me?" She was like, "I don't know. I don't know if I could." If you don't think or know that you can sell two of whatever it is that you're selling, whether it's a coffee mug, a widget, a hat, a coaching program, whatever it is, that's the first thing we have to do. And if you're not making sales on repeat, why are you also not already in my world? So that's the first thing, is I invest in mentorship. Number two is I invest in mentorship for whatever it is that I need. So right now in my current life, I have a business coach. I have somebody that does videography for me to up level my social media. I have someone who does Pinterest for me to get me on multiple platforms. I have a CMO in my business so that she handles all of my marketing assets. I obviously have Paul, who's the world's greatest executive assistant. I have a nutritionist and a weight loss coach because I don't want to figure it out on my own, even though I know how to lose weight. You guys, I've lost 70 plus pounds on my own. Was a fitness competitor and have been in magazines. I know how to lose weight. I don't want to figure it out this time on my own. I want to pay for speed, and I also want to pay for someone else to make decisions for me. I have someone who helps me with my style, right? All of these things I'm willing to invest in because this is the thing. I'm not investing in the thing. I'm investing in a shortcut. I'm investing in speed. I'm investing in a way to get there. I heard this great quote recently by Russell Brunson. I've been down like the Russell Brunson train lately. And I heard this incredible quote by him recently. And what it said is, speed denotes wealth. And what that means is if it takes you 25 years to make $1,000,000, are you wealthy? No. It took you 25 years to make $1,000,000. But if you make $1,000,000 in a year, and you know how to make another $1,000,000 in a year and another $1,000,000 in a year, your life looks very different. Wealth happens when you understand speed. So that's the thing I want you to think about. You're not paying for mentorship. You're actually paying for speed. So I will continue to pay for speed all day long. Number two is I am an insane action taker. I do not sit on decisions. I know some are going to go amazing and some are not going to go amazing, but I don't sit on them because the time that I spend sitting is the time that we can see if something's working. So about a month ago, I decided that I was going to do 300 webinars during the year of 2025. Yes, you heard me correctly. 300 webinars during 2025. And we only have 52 weeks, you guys. So I want you to do the math. It's a shit ton of webinars in 2025. I decided I was going to do a webinar, and the next day I told my team, get it going. Create the landing page. Create the opt-in. Let's start moving on this. I don't stop and be like, well, what's the name? And what am I selling at the end? And what if nobody shows up? I'm not asking those questions. I'm moving. I don't have time to worry about those things. Those are problems down the road. The thing I'm solving right now is how do we get the first one out? How do I get people to the first one? How do I gather data? That's all I need to know right now. Number two is I don't need to be motivated because I'm not always going to be motivated. I give you guys a lot of references going to the gym, right? Because I love to go to the gym. I am actually very lazy by nature. I don't love going to the gym. I don't love working out. I love it because how I look, and I love it because how it makes me feel, and I love it for what it does to my body, but I don't love going to the gym. I'm not motivated to go to the gym every day. I'm not even motivated to record this podcast right now in full honesty and transparency. But I do the things that need to be done to get the results that I want to get. Quit waiting to be fucking motivated to get going. Do the things that need to get done in order to make things happen. There's so many people preaching, oh, you just need motivation. You just need this. No, you don't. You need to move. I'm also someone that takes massive accountability for every single area of my life: business, personal, relationships, breakups, friendships, friendships that go well, friendships that go south, people that I have great interactions with, people I have bad interactions with. I take massive accountability for that. And I put the blame on no one. I ask myself questions like, how could I have showed up differently? What could I have done differently? What were signs I could have looked at recently? What ownership could I have taken in this? All of those things. But if you're someone who's always blaming someone else, you're never going to be a one percenter. If you're blaming the gym for having the wrong equipment, so you can't work out, if you're blaming the gym that it's always busy, I'll give you guys a great example. Here in Scottsdale, I take a sip of my drink. Here in Scottsdale, I work out every day, Monday through Friday, at the Scottsdale LA Fitness at 5 p.m. It is a shit show at 5 p.m. I could walk in every day and make excuses. Well, I can't do legs today. Someone's on the squat rack. Oh, I can't do the stepper today. Someone's on the step mill. But I don't. I get results regardless of what's handed to me. So it's like, oh, I guess I got to deviate. We're going to have to do the leg press today. Or I'm going to have to find a different way to do squats. Maybe I'll do them with a dumbbell or a barbell. You have to take massive accountability and quit blaming other people, right? And the last one I'll say on this topic, quit blaming your mentor for the results that you're not getting. It is not your mentor's fault that you don't get results in a program. It is not your mentor's fault that you're not where you want to be in your business. You need to start looking in the mirror and asking yourself, what can I take responsibility for? Am I actually doing what they suggested? Am I actually being consistent? Am I actually showing up to the calls? Am I engaged in the community? Am I an active member in this community? Do I have my camera on? Am I helping other people? All of those things matter. They all matter. So quit shifting the blame on other people of why you're not at where you actually want to be. You need to also stop blaming other things for why you don't have what you have. Maybe you're like, oh, well, I don't have a website yet, or I don't have a team yet, or I didn't sell up my live event yet, or I don't have 10,000 followers yet. Those things don't matter. You guys, I hit my first $500,000 with a couple thousand followers on Instagram. I hit my first 6 figures in a Facebook group. And I still don't have a website. And we are at $1 million business. Those things don't matter. Quit looking at the things that don't matter and start looking at the things that actually do. The last thing that I will say that has made me a one percenter is the fact that I'm willing to go at the speed in which God wants me to go. Now, maybe for you, it's not God. Maybe it's the universe or the stars or whoever it is that you believe in. But for me, it's God. And I'm always going to use his name on the podcast. So for me, it's I go at the speed that God wants me to do. And this is the speed. And I'm okay with going at his speed because he knows the path that this business is going to look like. 2 years ago, I would never have been able to handle the capacity of clients that I have today and inside of Infinity. I would not be able to be having conversations like I'm having with business owners. I would not be able to be having tough conversations with team members or mentors or firing a mentor last year because he was out of integrity. I would never have had the emotional intelligence last year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago that I have today. So I'm okay going at the speed in which I go at because it allows me to know that this is the long game. And how many of you are really understanding that it's the long game? It's the long game in business, it's the long game in relationships, it's the long game in health, right? All those things matter. So I want you guys to really ask yourself, like, where in these areas do you have room for some improvement? I'm also someone that does some things. And I want to share with you guys some things that I do as a human that I truly believe makes me a one percenter. Number one is I prioritize myself above everything else. Now, I know this might sound selfish, and sometimes it is, but I prioritize myself. And when I say I prioritize myself, the biggest thing that I mean here is my sleep. So maybe you're someone who's running on low energy. You're running on low fuel. You're running on aggression or frustration or all of those things. You have to prioritize yourself. I also prioritize movement. I prioritize being in good energy of friends, which means I'm also okay saying no. I don't want to go to that dinner. I don't want to go to your event. I don't want to attend this thing. I'm totally okay saying no to things because I honor what I need in this season of my life. I am someone that loves what I do every single day. So I went on a date this weekend and he was talking about what he does. And I could see in his eyes how much he loved what he did. And I commented, I said, "You love what you do, don't you?" And he's like, "I'm obsessed with what I do." He's like, "I'm the first one in the office. I, say hi to all the employees. I love to say hi to the girls at the desk. Like, I come in every day with such great energy." And guess what? It showed. It showed in the career path that he told me about. It showed up in the way he was talking, and it showed up in the energy in which I was listening to him talk. So, how obsessed with what you're doing are you? Or are you just checking off the boxes? Are you like, "Oh, well, maybe I'll try to be a VA. Maybe I'll try to sell this network marketing product. Maybe I'll try to be a life coach." Or are you someone who actually loves what you do? You guys, I've been in sales for 26, 27 years at this point. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. I could talk about sales in an elevator, in a pool, in a martini bar, even though I don't drink, a martini bar, with a girlfriend, anywhere. I love what I do. And because I love what I do, that's why you all come into my world because you can feel it, whether it's on the other end of a Zoom, the other end of a microphone, the other end of a Voxer. It doesn't actually matter. I'm genuinely in love with helping people. I love to serve people. And when you have a servant heart, this goes back to my faith. When you have a servant heart, people know that. The amount of people that say to me, I can feel how much you care about us. This program is unlike anything else I've ever been in. I can tell that you want to see every single person succeed. It is because I want to serve my community. I want to serve my clients. I want every single one of you to not only make a lot of money, but make a shit ton of impact. That's what it's all about, right? I'm somebody also who is not afraid to have hard conversations. And maybe right now, this is something that's holding you back. Maybe to have a hard conversation with your partner about what's lighting you up in business or even in life. Maybe to have a hard conversation with a mentor. You guys, I had a mentor last year for 9 months that I invested 6 figures in, and I fired him because he wasn't in integrity. I removed him from my business. I had him removed from everything in my world. It was a very uncomfortable conversation. It was a very challenging conversation. I got a lot of flack for this conversation. I got ridiculed by some people for this conversation. I had rumors made out about me about this conversation. This is where the let them theory comes in. Let them, so let me. But this is the thing. I'm not afraid to have hard conversations. I'm not afraid to stand in my power. I was totally okay saying, you're out of integrity as a mentor. And because of that, you're not leading me. You're not leading me. My community is not going to be led by you. I'm not going to tell people to come work with you. Any of those things. That's a hard conversation to have of someone who you put up thinking that they were higher than you. And trust me, no one's ever higher than you. I'm also someone who goes all in. I go all in when it comes to paying. I always pay in full because when I pay in full, I show up differently. I'm someone who always is investing in more learning. So whether it's like, I want to crush these webinars, or I want to crush the Pinterest game, or I want to be better at YouTube, or I want to improve my podcast quality, whatever that is, I'm willing to invest in that. And when you invest in things, you show up differently. So again, are you playing small? Or are you going all in? So you guys, this was a really important conversation for me to have because one, for a couple reasons, you all can be 1%ers. I am no different than you. I came into this online space 3.5 years ago at this point, maybe 4 years ago. I'm losing track of time. I had never done an Instagram story. I had never done a social media post about business. I did not have a Facebook group, nothing. I was literally where many of you are today and where some of you are actually, I was farther behind where some of you are today. But those are the characteristics that make me a 1%er. And I know it's the characteristics that can make you a 1%er too. I want to leave you guys on a couple notes. Infinity is open. And if you want to be a 1%er, you want to change your business, and you want to change your life, and I don't say that lightly, Infinity is the program for you. Never in all of my coaching have clients had results like they're having inside of this program. So send me a DM. Let's have a conversation, and let's get you into this program. Number 2 is Infinity Live is coming up. And we have a couple spots left. I'm not sure if they'll be left by the time this podcast airs, but definitely feel free to send me a DM and ask. And we are allowing, for the first time ever, one of my events to not have to be a current client to come in and check it out. So maybe you're in the Arizona area. Maybe you want to learn more about what it's like to be in my world. Maybe you just want to network and be in an incredible room of entrepreneurs. This is the event for you. So you guys, until next time, happy selling. Thank you so much for tuning into the Scale Your Sales podcast. If today's episode has you fired up, would you do me a huge favor and leave a review over on Apple or Spotify podcast? Or, of course, you can always take a screenshot and share it on your social media. That is the way we grow this show and so that other people can absolutely learn how to grow their sales as well. I am on a mission to change the mindset of sales. I want people to freaking love sales because the reality is sales is the foundation of everything you do. It's how your business generates revenue consistently. So remember, keep showing up and being unapologetic about selling because once you fall in love with selling, the sky is absolutely the limit. Until next time, happy selling, and my DMs are always open. I can't wait to get to know you better.